Welcome to Citizens Dialogue, where we break down issues shaping our politics, our leadership, our nation, and our everyday life. I am Kasituni. First, we'll start with the breaking news. Infrastructure push. $516.3 million approved for superhighway. Workers under pressure. Labor flags economic hardship. Police arrest officer over killing of 28-year-old man in Delta. We'll be right back after this break. Stay with us. Joining us now to break down these headlines is Ugochukwu Ifeanyi. Good to have you join us, Ugochukwu. Thank God it's Friday.
Yeah, Cassie, thank God it's Friday. Good day, viewers from all around the globe. And I also use this opportunity to wish the Nigerian workers and workers all over the world a happy Workers' Day. And in Nigeria, workers are still suffering and smiling, Cassie.
Suffering and smiling.
But in all that, we believe that the administration of of Bola Ahmed Tinubu will be able to put a smile on their faces as they celebrate today.
Talking about Bola Ahmed Tinubu's administration putting smiles on the workers' faces, Tinubu himself just borrowed 516.3 million naira for the Badagry superhighway construction. Now this funds, he put out this borrowing last week to the Senate. He brought it to the Senate, and then the president of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, actually approved it few days ago. Now, is the $516.3 million Badagry Sokoto Highway, is it a smart investment or a risky addition to Nigerian debt ahead of 2027, considering the fact that Nigeria is already owing so much debt?
If I can answer you directly and rhetorically, I think your question has answered the question. Because we have not seen what the borrowing over time has impacted on the Nigerian economy, Nigerian infrastructural development, and the bettering of the life of average Nigerians. You know, from Olusegun Obasanjo to Jonathan, although I wouldn't know how Jonathan's traveling, you know, for foreign investors, how it went, but I know that we also carried the forgiveness of our debts. The one that Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala spearheaded, that accumulated into the forgiveness of some of the debts Nigeria owed during the Obasanjo's administration. And fast forward to the administration of the late Musa Yar'Adua, whose major concern then was the Niger Delta militancy and how to get the Nigerian oil sector to, you know, continue to run optimally. And again, his focus again was on the battered image of the INEC, because he acknowledged that the election that brought him into power was flawed. So Jonathan, I wouldn't exactly know, but I knew Jonathan worked with Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala at a time.
Yeah.
Then you fast forward to the Muhammadu Buhari's administration that went on borrowing, you know, added a lot of money to what Jonathan left. And fast forward to Bola Ahmed Tinubu, where we are now. Borrowing in itself, all countries borrow. All countries borrow, but the point is this: what are the infrastructural developments you are tying that particular monies to? if we want to juxtapose the current borrowing as ASAP approved by the Senate President and indeed the Nigerian Senate, where the APC is having the majority. The promise of Ahmed Lawan, who was the Senate President during the second tenure of Muhammad Buhari, who promised Buhari that he will approve anything that he brings on the table of the Senate. And Akpabio had continued in that promise, and he has not reneged. He's fulfilling that as the vow a husband makes to the wife. That's what he's doing to all the monies that Bola Ahmed Tinubu is borrowing. So when you now juxtapose this current borrowing of $516 million to complete or in the continuation of the Sokoto-Badagry superhighway that was initially conceived in the early 1980s by the administration of former President Shehu Shagari. After roughly 4 decades, that particular project was left dormant. We give it to Bola Ahmed Tinubu to have record. That's why we have been saying, and I have been crying on this show, that our maintenance culture is very poor. And African maintenance culture, the worst is Nigeria, that each administration that comes, want to go with their agenda instead of the party manifesto and, continuing from where their predecessor stops. But they want to have their own signature projects. So I give it to Bola Ahmed Tinubu for remembering this particular superhighway, which was conceived. Whatever the idea was then, to have conceived the idea of this superhighway is in order to enhance movement of goods and services, transportation, and also to reduce loss of manpower hours expended on the roads in Nigeria as a result of traffic logjam. So this particular project is expanding up to 1,068 kilometers. Then if it will crisscross or transverse across Sokoto State, Kebbi, it crisscross around Niger State, Kwara, Oyo, Ogun, and Lagos State. So when you look at it, is an impactful innovation, is a laudable project. But what we are talking about here is that how are we going to juxtapose it when the borrowing? When you talk about the Calabar, Lagos...
Ugochukwu, before you go further,
yes.
You make a very valid point that is an important innovation. It's a very good innovation. Now, let's talk about them bridging the gap between the north and the south Bridging the gap between the north and the south. Now, linking Sokoto to Badagry, it can actually reduce long-standing imbalance between northern and southern economic opportunity, which in your explanation, your analysis, you actually mentioned. But now, of what use is this infrastructure without security, without power, and without local industry?
That is where I was headed to. Because, laudable in the sense that this is part of the campaign strategy for 2027, no doubt. And when you look at it, you now ask, what is in it in those states of Kwara, Oyo, Niger State, where bandits has ravaged, or not it's ravaging, has already taken over a chunk, portion of the expanse land in Niger State. You talk about Kwara, that we suddenly woke up to the menace of herdsmen and bandits or terrorists in Kwara State. You talk about Oyo State, have not been left out, and Lagos State. So when you look at it, you now ask, what are in those states that this road, this mega project is chasing? What are the infrastructural developments in those states? What are the mineral resources in those states that needs to be transported? Do we have any oil well in those places that we need to transport? Do we have cocoa? Do we have granite? Is there any, when Muhammad Buhari administration was there talking about diversification, we have not seen any mode of diversification of projects and mineral resources developed, or all this, the movement of Muhammadu Buhari and Bola Ahmed Tinubu going to woo investors into Nigeria. I'm not seeing where they build industries to harness the potentials of the Nigerian teeming youths to work. For you to now say we are transporting all those things. We saw in the olden days when they talk about when you talk about Kano State, you talk about the activities that go on there. You talk about Kaduna State. You talk about the where do they call it, the Nigerian print, where they produce rappers in those days. So, but today you are building a coastal superhighway to what gain? Is there any of those natural mineral resources that God has used in blessing Nigeria that is gotten from those places that the money is shared at the federal level? That will be the $1 million question. And the money you are now imputing in this type of project. Kasi, we talk about the Calabar Lagos Coastal Highway. They call it super highway, the one that the Minister of Transport or the Minister of Works, David Umahi, is using to position himself as the Nigerian president of Igbo extraction come 2039. You know, he's using it. Kasi, that road is 700-kilometer road. 700 kilometers. And it's among the signature projects of Bola Ahmed Tinubu that will announce him and write his name in gold. But is he going to finish it? If that road till late April 2026, the Lagos Calabar Coastal Highway is rapidly advancing, according to reports, with Section 1, only what they have gotten to is 47.47 kilometers. Minus 47 plus 700, and see, in 3 years, you know how many years? I think that is one of their followers with el-rufai of Arise. When he was able to, if he has spent so time in this road will now take like 28 years with the pace at which it is going for it to be finished. They say he's anti-Tinubu. But if you look at it, you now talk about this crucial, important superhighway that will engulf so much amount of money. They have, what Bola Ahmed Tinubu would have done, in my view, is to continue with the rail project, which would have been help us and even more safe. It isn't more faster and they can carry more of those goods and services we are talking about. So you are moving to Badagry to what gain? What is happening in Badagry, Lagos State? And the Kasi, finally, before maybe you have another question, is why must it be only channeling to Lagos State? You recall the borrowing that when President Bola Ahmed Tinubu visited the king and the wife, the royal visit to UK, they borrowed money, or there was a bond for him to revitalize and restructure Tinkan Island and Apapa Wharf. Only in Lagos State. Is Nigeria still united? Is Nigeria still one indivisible nation? When Buhari was there was the railway line built up to Niger Republic. Is it Niger? Niger Republic. So when you talk about it, anybody that comes within the Nigerian presidential seat focuses attention on his own particular geopolitical zone. Is that how we are going to continue to be a united country? Jonathan is the only person that his people is vilifying, because Jonathan did not do anything visible for even the east-west road. How do they call it? The one in Rivers State, going from Benin.
Yes, east-west road.
East-west bypass road. He couldn't complete it. He couldn't do anything to it. He couldn't even remember his people. He was busy trying to, buy the mines of the northern part of Nigeria, and the rug was pulled off his feet. But Tinubu is continued the advancement of what he did in Lagos when he was the governor. He thinks that he is in charge. Lagos State is the only place that he has to focus his attention in whatever project that he brings into Nigeria. It's really a pity. As laudable as those particular projects are, but the questions are being raised about why must all of them be targeting to Lagos Calabar Superhighway, Sokoto, Badagry. Your guess is as good as mine.
All right, thank you so much, Ogochukwu. Just like you've stated, the president is perhaps building a tent for himself so that when he returns, he'll have something to hold on to.
A good retirement home.
Yes. So you made mention of planning. Now we're going to focus on planning, because in your analysis, you talked about David Omaye, the Calabar Coastal Highway that is still under construction, which he has not finished.
Have not even gone anywhere. It's just the scratch.
Yes, and we've seen other projects like that. Now, this has to do with budgeting and planning. Now, what is the guarantee that the 560 million naira
$1 million?
Yes, $560 million loan will be duly accounted for? Looking at what you've stated earlier, that there's no planning, there's no adequate planning and budgeting. Now, this $560 million being released as a loan to the federal government for the superhighway, what is the guarantee that this money will be accounted for and it will be used for the purpose which is being loaned for?
Cassie, if you understand how many states I mentioned that this road will crisscross, you talk about it will, the end point will be from Badagry to Sokoto, Kebbi, Niger State, Kwara, Ogun, Oyo, and the Lagos State itself. You find out that even for them to have even talked about borrowing $516 million is laughable. It tells you that there is no even intention of completing that road. Is just meant for the camera, just for Bola Tinubu and his co-travelers to see what they are going to use to applaud him when he'll be campaigning for the 2027 general elections. Because the money they have earmarked for for a project spanning about 6 states or 7 states in Nigeria. If you have gone to the north, you understand, even Niger State alone is like when you're traveling from, even is more than from south to southeast. You'll be entering southwest for you to transverse or be able to imagine the expanse of lands and the length and breadth of Niger State alone. Not to talk about the inhabited or ungoverned spaces in Sokoto State and Kebbi. So if they are borrowing this money and calling it without, like you just asked, without proper appropriation, Mr. President would have tarried a while and go rather for supplementary budgets. Supplementary budget would have been more sound when you're talking about it. But this one, Mr. President wakes up and he needs money. He just runs and go, and they will approve. He needs $10,000. He will go to Akpabio will approve. And without detailing Nigerians on what this money is and how the they hope to repair this money? Because all these monies are going to be repaired. Those borrowing nations or those borrowing entities are not Father Christmas. Those monies, okay, are you building the coastal highway? How many are you going to give it out as PPRP, public-private partnership, so that we know that there are some private individuals or companies that are buying into it? And at the end of the day, how do you intend to recover the money, not paying it directly from the Nigerian purse? Maybe, perhaps, what they call toll gates. How many toll gates are you going to have around there? How is this money? Who is going to take care of this? Because, Cassie, what has kept Julius Berger, MCC, and all those companies you're here is not that the government don't pay them. When they want to construct mega roads in Senate lines, they give it out, give it as a mortgage. You and the government and them will discuss. They will now maintain the road for over time as they are collecting the money little by little. It's not this one that government is involved. Government is not the best in entrepreneurship. So if they have given this road to 1-2 companies and say, take care of it and do it, and at the end of the day, the Nigerians go home smiling. All this money you take from small toll gate fee over 40-50 years, Nigerians will not. And as they are taking the money, they are also making sure that the lights on the road, the places that we cave in over time, tear and wear, are being maintained over time. But Tinubu will finish doing the little he will do, and he will, maybe another 40 years, another person will wake up and say, oh, Shagari started something, Tinubu stopped somewhere, and let me continue. That is what we have come to say in Nigeria. So lack of proper planning, lack of proper initiative, and what is the immediate impact infrastructurally and economically that this road is in it for Nigerians? Is it going to give up job? Tomorrow night they will tell you it will give more than 10,000, 50,000, what do they call it, small scale job. Those who will be packing the crota, those who will be selling banana along the road. That is what a country sees as an economic benefit, to build a particular infrastructure that is as mega as this. Is very, very worrisome. But no impact directly on the Nigerian youths, on the Nigerian worker, and average Nigerian who have retired. Those people will be alive and gainfully employed and have a meaningful life. Their life secured before they will enjoy all those things. And what are the security? You saw the insecurity that bedeviled our way. Right, but what about now? What are the security measures they are putting in place?
Thank you, Gochiko. So we'll hope that the Nigerian citizens are actually listening to this, your analysis. Very quickly, we'll move away from that. So another major development, Nigerian workers under pressure. I don't know if I should wish you happy Workers' Day or...
We're at work.
But there's nothing happy about this Workers' Day, because we're looking at hardship. We're talking about hardship. The economic system is becoming unbearable, with the rising cost of living, inflation, especially when it comes to food. The prices of things in the market has skyrocketed to only God knows where, which has hit workers so hard that even their monthly salary is not even enough to sustain them for a month. And that brings us to the question, is this a failure of current economic system?
Cassie, once again, whether we like it or not, Nigerians thrive in wishing you have a happy new year, you have happy new month, you have a happy new week, you have a happy new day. And Nigerians, this is one of the things that made us the happiest people on earth during the Jonathan era. I don't know where those things are now. And they also borrow the words of the late music icon Fela Anikbola Wakuti, who said that Nigerians are, smiling and also suffering at the same time. That is the bane of the average Nigerian worker. Cassie, in the time I've been around and I've known what Workers' Day looks like, this is the most agonizing, the most quiet, the most unceremonial, the most, what word will I use now? Celebration of Workers' Day that I've seen. I've even searched everywhere. I've not seen the what do they call it? The address of the Nigerian Labour Chairman, President, the NLC President, and the TUC, and the way they normally go to the field and they celebrate. What is there to celebrate? Over time, the Nigerian workers have been relegated to the background. People will go to school. It's only the Nigerian civil service and private sector that will ask you for certificate, ask you for CV, ask you for 10 years experience, somebody that have just graduated before you get a job. But in politics, you are qualified.
Exactly.
Immediately you express your interest and you are very loyal.
You don't even need certificate.
No, you don't need that. The appeal court recently, I think the day before yesterday also, ordered for the withdrawal of Ojos Okalo's university certificate.
Yeah.
Because Ojos Okalo was eradicated from the university. After 15 years, he became the governor of Abia State and used a forged transcript to gain admission because he was a governor in the Abia State University. And at the end of the day, people were following him. And the only thing that the judgment does is what I'm saying now. It wouldn't prevent him from continuing to be in the Senate, because even primary school and secondary school certificate has qualified him to vie for the Senate seat. But if you're coming to his Sun newspaper to look for employment, he will ask you to bring your master's degree.
All right,
so that is Nigeria.
Ugochukwu, very quickly before we wrap up on this particular discussion, what is the most effective approach that the government should take to ease the burden on the workers instead of worsening the situation?
I was listening to one of the labor leaders today who was talking about the stabilizing of the currency. Nigerian currency is not in any way match to the take-home of an average civil servant in Nigeria. The bills are huge. The economic hardship is biting, like you said in your question, and the Nigerian atmosphere is not favorable. That's why you have a lot of our doctors, a lot of our professionals preferring to go to Chad, preferring to go to Benin Republic, preferring to go to, I heard somebody saying that the destination now is Guinea. So where you see somebody is paid, if you convert the money, it's about 700,000 per month. But you call them small African nations. So a lot of things that the government need to do. Bola Ahmed Tinubu administration should consider the plight of the Nigerian workers, the current workers, those that you're not even talking about the agonizing pain of pensioners. You were here last month when retired police officers staged a protest.
Yeah.
It should not be hard. When you talk about the American politics, they have what you call the Legion. Even for some time, that reminds me, I've not seen all those cars with the inscription of Legion. They are those registered under the retired Nigerian military officers. So you talk about the welfare of the Nigerian workers should be taken into account. The government should subsidize the medical this for the workers. Then the workers should have, even if they are not going to improve their salary on the salary they have, 70,000, and not all the state governments are paying 70,000. Let's be factual. Then you now talk about the health care. So this NIHS should be made to even get to the local government and even the cleaner in the minute working place. Then you talk about the welfare of their children, housing. What was the last time I had the governor of Rivers State, Fobara, flagging off construction of a housing unit for 25,000 units for commissioners? These are political appointees. But who is talking about the engine room of any government? You talk about the engine room of that is the civil service, the workforce, the labor, the safety of those people who are in the labor market. Nobody is talking about it. You see that somebody will be working in the same company because somebody has a yellow skin or what they call white skin. I don't know, but for me, it's yellow. So the person becomes an expatriate. You studied the same thing with the person and you are doing the job. And they will, fast forward, they will say this one is I'm paid in dollars in Nigeria, while a Nigerian goes home with peanuts. The person is given a befitting apartment, while the Nigerian who is working there treks home. So when you also go to their own homeland, where we are coming from, they cannot even give you the job they were giving them here. They give us, minor jobs that we do, and we are glad to take it because when you carry the money and come here, our money becomes very stupid before their own money. So Nigeria, God has blessed Nigeria, Cassie, like I always posit. The only tsunami and the only earthquake we have is our leaders. And the leadership can do it right. If they can buy good cars for themselves, if they will know that they will fly good private jets, if they know that they can send their children abroad, they can send their girlfriends abroad to go and have good life, to purchase houses abroad, they can do that for the Nigerian worker. Because if workers are not happy, if a teacher is not happy, I watched one hilarious video where a pupil came back and the mother is asking, Mommy, I want to eat. He said, I gave you food in the morning, I gave you the one in the lunchbox. He said, my teacher ate it. the child is coming to school with a garnished, with a garnished food. What me and one of my brother will say, this one is special. The teacher will eat it. So, because the teacher cannot afford that kind of meal. So, when you have a workforce that is disillusioned, that cannot work with passion, a workforce that is not happy, how do you think that the will of the government mobility will be moving smoothly? And Cassie, they are also the ones that help those politicians to steal from Nigerians. Because anybody also that they call and the witness boss to come and testify how the monies were stolen by those politically exposed Nigerians is still the workforce. It's still the what do you call it? The civil servants. Because they enable them. They enable them to steal. But what I'm saying today is that as we celebrate the average Nigerian worker, they should pull together. Because most times they are not helping themselves by forming factional groups. So when they put together, they were able to hold the government accountable, and the government will be able to listen to their cry. It is not good in the civil service. It's not good in the educational sector, words, we should all and even the health sector
accountable.
No, you shouldn't even hold only the government, Cassie. What of Cassie? Excuse me. What of those in our health sector? The nurses are going on strike. The the health workers are going on strike. The doctors are going on strike. The doctors are leaving the country in droves. So which place is it better?
We can't hold them accountable because at this point, with all your analysis, the government has failed them. So if the government were making life comfortable for them, they will not leave. So we cannot hold them accountable in this scenario.
They should hold the government too.
Yes, we'll hold the government accountable. The government should build their house. If they build their house properly, nobody will want to leave. Thank you so much, Ugochukwu. Very quickly, before we'll move ahead, we'll go on a short break, and when we return, we'll be looking at the arrest of police officer over the killing of 28-year-old man in Delta State. Stay with us. On the show Citizens Dialogue. Before we went on a short break, we were talking about the incident that happened in Delta State where a policeman was seen assaulting a driver and killing the driver in the process. But before we proceed, let's watch the video.
Officer, I'm going to tell you everything. Now my friend, I deceived me. You just stop play, bro. You just stop play. I'm going to carry my friend. I don't know anything concerned. Yes, I don't know anything concerned. I don't know anything concerned. I beg. I don't know anything concerned. I go carry you go meet something like this. I go carry you go meet officer. I go carry you go meet officer. Officer. I go carry you go meet officer, man. I go carry you go meet officer. Officer, I don't know. I don't know, officer. Officer, I don't know. Papa, officer, I don't know. Jesus.
All right, in the video, we could see this victim, Mr. Mene Ogidi. He was on handcuff and he was pleading. Okay, first off, they saw a weapon with him in his vehicle, which was supposed to be a waybill. According to the report, was supposed to be a waybill, and they caught him in the process. Now, this man was pleading and begging for his life, begging to be spared. And in the video, we could see the police officer pulling the trigger to shoot him. And other police officers were there on site. They couldn't even stop this Usman from shooting the victim. They watch him pull the first trigger and they watch him pull the second trigger. They allow him to shoot this man and kill him. This goes to show that even our police, we can't even trust them. And yet they say that police is your friend. They say we should trust them with our lives and property. But in this case, we can't even trust them because even the same police are even harmful to us, if I'm going to put it that way. They are even harmful to us. Killing a citizen because you saw the person with arm. Now, this man, he wasn't even posing any threat to them, because he was not holding a gun. He wasn't even holding anything that is violent to even say, okay, he's going to attack them. He was handcuffed, and the police still kill him in the process. Now, what do we call this? Should we call this an act of execution or security measures?
See, Cassie, may the soul of Mene Ogidi rest in peace. And our hearts from here goes out to the family and his loved ones, who are the ones who are bearing the brunt. You and I can be here analyzing it and talking about it. We are just third party. Only the family knows what the excruciating pain they are going through. And again, as the Igbo people say, that eburuzu or they call osisi kebu. When you are in a burial ground or a burial ceremony and they are lifting the corpse to the graveside, you will feel that what is there is just a log of wood. But the people who have lost that person, that goes a long way to show you why our government, the loss of confidence, and that the government has been overwhelmed. The insecurity is now entering the security agencies. It was the same thing that triggered the 2020 NSAS protests. The same police brutality. What do you call this? Is summary execution. The policeman, whatever his name is, I don't want to give him that publicity here. He executed an innocent man because the Nigerian constitution explicitly stated that anyone is innocent until proven guilty by a court of competent jurisdiction, not any court. Just like what happened in the ADC, the Supreme Court said, go back, because the appeal court even have no jurisdiction to have even entertained that case. Then the case have not been heard by the lower court. So jurisdiction of the court matters for the person to be said to have been convicted. And like you said, my dear, he didn't pose any threat, because remember, the guy had been apprehended by the park operators and tied hands and legs. And they are the people that put a call across to the police, the divisional police officer around. And they came only for this young man, trigger happy. And on Mufti. You see what is happening in Nigeria? Very laughable. How can somebody who is on Mufti, because you are in a police vehicle or a vehicle branded with rewritten police divisional office, and a lot of Nigerians have lost their lives in this way. Perhaps if somebody had not videoed that, it would have gone on denial. Cassie, I've been where people those bandits will park their vehicle and they pretend to be military men or policemen, gather people and shoot them. And once you are a law-abiding Nigerian, that you don't have anything to fear, once police officer saw you, stop. And the person interrogates you and you move. But look at how this young, promising Nigerian lost his life. He might be innocent, and I heard him saying that, I will take you to and that is what? Aiding police for investigation. He didn't deny them investigation. Even if you have caught him in the act, even if you have caught somebody in the act, you have no moral and constitutional power to take someone's life, unless somebody, even our governors today, how many people are on death row? The governors are refusing to sign death warrants. That's what is happening in Nigeria. The governors will tell you, I don't want to stem my rap, but their political opponents, they are maiming and they're going after them. But look at how this will show you that our lives are valueless. In Nigeria, where 2 years ago, there was one former Arsenal player that kicked his cat, and he was apprehended. And said his own cat, the cat in his house, ordinary cat. But look at a full-grown human being wasted. And they did not shoot him once. And for you to know that this is a premeditated act, he wanted to cock the gun with his magazine on. He couldn't. He removed the magazine, picked and was aided. But where are those people that aided him? Picking the ammunitions and giving him to load ordinarily in his rifle. So a lot of things that should be unearthed here for Nigerians to know the truth. If not, our lives are worth nothing. So I want to call on the Inspector General of Police, Tunji Dusu, whom I met in Rivers State. I know what he can do. He has already ordered for their summary dismissal. Now they are prone to be heading to the courts. So I also urge President Bola Ahmed Tinubu and the governor of Delta State, Oborevere, to make sure that this family is adequately compensated. They are not only going to compensate ladies that are half naked, or those that their clothes are torn and they are watching their private part, and people are calling them for them to be ambassadors and what do they call it, stars. So this family must be compensated adequately. And again, this man should be, in fact, I don't know, I'm not the law court, but I know that his end is near. And it's not today that he started what he is doing. And there are many more of his kind in the Nigerian police. So they should fish them out and sanitize the Nigerian police, especially as we inch towards having state police.
All right,
this
thank
is
you
also
so
what
much,
we are going to see.
Ugochukwu. And just like you said, they should compensate the family. We hope the compensation won't even heal the wounds, which they are going to face for years, because for every birthday of the guy, it will be like an open wound for them.
Yes,
thank you
you're
so
right.
much for your
Well, you
analysis.
go a long way. Thank you, Cassie, and happy weekend.
All right, that's it on Citizens Dialogue. Many thanks for watching. I am Cassie Tony, reminding you to stay informed and stay ahead. Do well to join us next time for more breaking news across Nigeria. Do have a beautiful weekend.